What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. I ain't got no spiel. All I do is keep it real. This cloud chasing at all time. Hi. What's up, y'all? I know y'all know about Trump. I know y'all know about Trump. We gonna get into it, y'all. I ain't even gonna waste your time. We gonna get right into it. I'm not even gonna waste none of y'all time. For real.
Four counts of falsifying business documents.
What's up, y'all?
Where the former president will be speaking. This is really has captured national attention. We have, of course, been following closely the Georgia reaction from local politicians and lawmakers as they've all weighed in on this jury outcome. Again, the former president of the United States becoming the first to be a convicted felon in this case of felony crimes that he faced for falsifying business documents after a New York jury found him guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business documents as part of an illegal scheme to influence the 2016 election through hush money payments made to an adult entertainment star known as Stormy Daniels. Now, this has been a trial that a lot of people have been following very closely, and many
So basically,
have
right.
said they didn't expect it to go this way.
So basically, right. The American people are about to go to a civil war based off of a guy that's having relations with a prostitute or a porno star, right? And this guy just so happened to be the president or former president of the United States. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But they trying to throw the book at Diddy though. Just remember that. They trying to throw the book at Diddy though.
Especially for someone as notable and as influential as the former president himself. And even Donald Trump weighed in on this, walking out of that New York courtroom moments after the jury brought down their verdict. And here's what he had to say.
Be prosecuted again. Andy McCarthy, this is anything but standard. It's the antithesis of standard, actually. The idea that they do not have to agree on what the other crime is. We spent 6 weeks wondering, what is the other crime? What is the other crime? And at the end, the thud we all get is this. There's 3, 4 of them. And you can pick one from the other, and they don't have to agree on anything. And what he's saying is it's so corrupt. Nobody's ever heard of anything like this.
So basically, we hear the former president Donald Trump calling out the judge, calling out the prosecutors in the case for being corrupt, and it's, you know, it's a shame, but you got melanated people that go through that every single day in the court system, every single day.
It's called pick 'em. It's like the lottery. Pick 'em. You pick 'em, and you don't have to be, even though in a criminal case you have to be unanimous. You don't have to be. Just give a couple of votes because the judge, unfortunately, is corrupt. Judge Jeanine Pirro, no one has heard of this. It's like it's a menu column A, B, or C. You don't have to agree on it. This is a kangaroo court. This is unheard of. I've never seen anything like it. I've done this for 32 years. I'm not a federal prosecutor. I'm a state prosecutor, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a federal judge. I'm a county judge, just like Bush. This is New York law. This is my wheelhouse. He is 100% wrong. He's wrong. That's what Jeanine Pirro, very good woman, very smart woman. Jonathan Turley, this is becoming a 3-card haunting game on where is the crime.
So this was we done came to America. We're you know, all worried about a guy trying to cover up a sexual deviant act. You know what I'm saying? This guy just so happens to be a former president, probably was a president at the time when it happened. And yeah, and the world is in a whole tizzy about this.
Smart guy. Where is the crime? Mike Davis, the U.S. would sanction a country for doing this. I think that's good. I think that's good. Steve Hilton, it seems that every single day these proceedings go on, the judge and the prosecutor just go out of their way to prove Trump's point. And I guess they are proving my point when you think. That's why I write some of these things that are very sad. Mark Levin, this Stalinist-like case, it's a Stalinist-like case. It has prevented President Trump from running for office. It has prevented him from campaigning. He's unable to campaign because he's been in a courthouse for 5 weeks. And yet we just had a poll came out, NPR. Trump's 54, Biden's 42. And that's with independents. That's the best we've ever had. They said this is the single best poll that Trump has ever had with independents. Trump's largest lead.
And those were some of the former president's remarks, some of which you will hear from. Excuse me, let me take this previous coverage down as we are live with you. In a moment, you will hear from the former president. He has called this news conference really to refocus his audience, his base on his campaign, which he is actively and passionately continuing to move through. You know, the presidential election just months away at this point, and he's said even yesterday that remains his top priority. You know, you heard some of the remarks from yesterday as the former president.
Is it gonna be a civil war, y'all? Is it about to break down like another January 6th situation? Y'all let me know, man. It might be a little too early, but look, I mean, just looking at it how it is, man, this man is still on the campaign trail. Is this gonna be like another January 6th situation?
President talked about, you know, his personal opinion of the outcome and how he himself was not expecting that and disagrees with it, obviously. And we can't expect an appeal from his team to come out of that. But even from a legal expert standpoint, many have said that this is not only historic, but really unprecedented, exposing a former president to potential prison time in the city where he has had years and if not decades of influence. And so I do believe we have former President Donald Trump. Let's take you to that coverage now.
Anyone. These are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East. And they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could right now, today, he could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country. Our country is in very bad shape, and they're very much against me saying these things.
What do y'all feel about Trump saying these things about the country right now and Biden? I mean, is that what he's supposed to say, being Trump? Or is it what he's saying the truth? How do y'all feel about what's being said right now? And I mean, what do y'all think about, you know what I'm saying, this whole verdict and everything like that? And, you know, what's y'all opinion? I'm not really that political, man, but this is important right now for the country, man. I mean, for real, clout chasing might be at an all-time high, but a lot of people might be clout chasing off of Trump. You feel what I'm saying? Or do y'all think that Trump is out here clout chasing? Which one is it, y'all?
They want to raise your taxes by 4 times. They want to stop you from having cars with their ridiculous mandates that make it impossible for you to get a car or afford a car. But make it very possible for China to build all of our cars. It's a very serious problem that we have. We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted. There's never been a more conflicted judge. Now, I'm under a gag order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before. I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in penalties and fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it. I'm the leading candidate. I'm leading Biden by a lot, and I'm leading the Republicans to the point where that's over. So I'm the leading person for president, and I'm under a gag order by a man that can't put two sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. And maybe his people, more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it, because I don't know if he knows about anything. But he's nevertheless the president, so we have to use his name. And this is done by Washington, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. So we have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it, but you're allowed to talk about it. I hope you do, because there's never been anybody so conflicted as this. As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw.
What y'all think about that? Do y'all think that Trump was breaking the law, or do y'all think his rights were violated? Which one do y'all think it is, man? I mean, it got to be one of them, right?
What happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side? They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft. People say, oh, he seems like such a nice man. No, unless you saw him in action. And you saw that with a certain witness that went through hell. And when we wanted to do things, he wouldn't let us do those things. But when the government wanted something, they got everything. They got everything they wanted. It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change where we could have a fair trial.
Did they give the former president Donald Trump a fair trial in y'all opinion, or do y'all think he got exactly what he deserved? What do y'all think? Do y'all think that he should have those felonies? He should go on the campaign trail. They basically got his back against the wall, y'all. So, I mean, is this going to be like a January 6th situation? Let me know. I mean, I ain't even that political, man, but we're going into a serious time.
We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously he didn't do that. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who was a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete. Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating, and he's going rampant. And Bragg is down watching a trial on what they call crimes. They're falsifying business records. That sounds so bad. To me, it sounds very bad. You know, it's only a misdemeanor, but to me, it sounds so bad. When they say falsifying business, that's a bad thing for me. I've never had that before. I'm falsifying. You know what falsifying business records is? In the first degree. They say falsifying business records. Sounds so good, right? It means that legal expense. I paid a lawyer, totally legal. I paid a lawyer a legal expense. And a bookkeeper, without any knowledge from me, correctly marked it down in the books. A very professional woman, highly respected. She testified. Marked it down in the books as a legal expense. So a legal expense, paid a lawyer, is a legal expense in the books. It's not sheetrock.
You're listening right now to former President Donald Trump speaking at Trump Tower in Manhattan at this hour.
Business records were. And I said, what else are you going to call it? What else are you going to call it? Now, I would have testified. I wanted to testify. The theory is you never testify, because as soon as you testify, anybody, if it were George Washington, don't testify, because they'll get you on something that you said slightly wrong, and then they sue you for perjury. But I didn't care about that. I wanted to. But the judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in, not this case, everything that I was ever involved in, which is a first. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there? And my lawyer said, what do you need to go through? And all you wanted to do is testify simply on this case. Because I would have loved to have testified. To this day, I would have liked to have testified. But you would have said something out of whack, like it was a beautiful sunny day and it was actually raining out. And I very much appreciate the big crowd of people outside. That's incredible what's happening. The level of support has been incredible. So the whole thing is,
Do y'all think
legal expense was marked down as legal expense. Think of it.
do y'all think that Trump is trying to rally up people to basically bully his way into the White House? And if he does bully his way into there, right, is this a democracy anymore? Is everything democratic? You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like, you know what I'm saying, it's a mind manipulation with the people, right? You know what I'm saying? We got a criminal president or former president that's trying to be the president. And do you don't think he not gonna commit more crimes?
This is the crime that I committed, that I'm supposed to go to jail for 187 years for. When you have violent crime all over this city at levels that nobody's ever seen before, where you have businesses leaving, and businesses are leaving because of this, because heads of businesses say, man, we don't want to get involved with that. I could go through the books of any business person in this city, and I could find things that in theory, I guess, let's indict him, let's destroy his life. But I'm out there, and I don't mind being out there because I'm doing something for this country, and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important, far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency. And the people understand it because I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out, was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and says something differently, but a lot of people have predicted it because the public understands and they understand what's going on. This is a scam. There's a rigged trial. It shouldn't have been in that venue. We shouldn't have had that judge. He should have allowed us to have an election expert. We had the best expert, most respected expert, head of the.
Do y'all think that the trial was rigged against Trump? Do y'all think that, or do y'all think he got justice? Do y'all think justice was served? And do y'all feel that since he has been convicted of those felonies, should he still be able to run? Is it constitutional? Let me know, y'all.
Federal Elections Commission. He was all set to testify. He was waiting for 2 days. And when it was his turn, Bragg's people protested. And the judge knocked him out, said, you can't testify. He actually said, you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that. But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be. And it had nothing to do with the case, but it had to do with politics. And do you notice the timing? The timing was perfect. This case was dead. It was dropped by every agency, every governmental board. It was dropped by the highly respected Southern District. They said, no, there's no case here. It was dropped by federal election. And that's what it's about. This is about a federal election, not a state election. You're not even allowed to look at it. They took the state and the city and they went into a federal election. They're not allowed. The people from federal election, Southern District, and Washington dropped the case. Everybody dropped the case. There was no case. Cy Vance dropped the case. And when Bragg came in, he said, this is the most ridiculous case I've ever seen. And who would have a certain person, again, gag order, who would have a certain person like this ever testify? He said, this is essentially one of the worst people I've ever seen ever to testify. He said, the craziest case I've ever seen. This is Bragg. Then when they announced I was running for president, long time later, they decided to revive this case. And they got a judge, Judge Marchand, who was responsible for another case that was also brought. It destroyed the life of a very good man, by the way, destroyed the life of a very good man who went to prison once, and then they just put him in prison again because they said he lied. He didn't lie. I looked at the statements he made. In fact, he didn't remember something, and they put him in jail. Again, they've destroyed him. With me for many years, he was an honorable person. He was an honest man. And if you look at what he did, supposedly, it never happened. There's never been anything like this. Over the education of his grandchildren. He didn't report.
Do y'all think that Trump is delusional, or is he making perfect sense about his rights being violated and the rights of his friends being violated, all in effort to take him down? Or is it all a delusion? And was he wrong? And did he do wrong and he just don't want to admit it? What do y'all think?
That he had a car or two cars on his income. I don't know. I wonder how many people here have cars. I wonder how many people said, oh, gee, I have a car that's worth X dollars. How do you even figure it? And I guess you do have to report it, but I would say probably almost nobody does. Nobody even thinks about it. They put this man, they destroyed this man, but they put him in jail again because they didn't want him to testify. They didn't want him to testify. That's why he went to jail. They put him in jail twice. He's 77 years old. Now, normally I'd say that's an old guy, but I don't feel 77. Nobody ever says that about me. I'd like them to say, gee, we have to have a little sorrow for this man, because they just don't say that about me, but maybe I'm better off that way. I think I'm probably better off that way, but they put him in jail twice. And you have to see what they put him in jail. And he was threatened by the judge. This man was told, you're going to get 15 years in jail if you don't give up Trump. And he was told that. You're going to get 15 years in jail. And he made a plea deal because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life. And he was told that viciously. We're living in a fascist state. He was told that viciously. So you can go to jail for 4 months, 5 months, or you can get 15 years in jail. So do a plea. Almost who wouldn't do that plea? Everyone does those pleas. It's a horrible thing. There's a whole group of lawyers that fight that. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. But they destroyed his life. So many other things. You look at Southern District didn't want to bring the case. Nobody wanted to bring the case. And then you know who didn't want to bring the case? Most of all, is Bragg. Bragg didn't want to bring it. But then he brought it. And they tried to make it a different case. They didn't say legal expense equal legal expense. Again, if I wrote down and paid a lawyer, and by the way, this was a highly qualified lawyer. Now, I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But you know, he's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. Took me a while to find out. But he was effective. He did work. But he wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. You know, they like to use the word fixer. He wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. At the time, he was a fully accredited lawyer. Now, he got into trouble not because of me. He got into trouble because he made outside deals and he had something to do with taxi cabs and medallions, and he borrowed money. And that's why he went. And then he pled to three election violations. And as soon as I saw that, I said, I wonder why he did that. He pled. He took a deal. Now, he took a deal because he wanted to get off. In other words, I'll take a plea deal and I want to get off. And he wanted to make a deal with the Southern District. And they wrote the worst report I think I've ever seen on any human being, other than the report that was written on James Comey by the Inspector General, a very great Inspector General, actually, wrote a report that was so bad. This one was possibly worse. The Southern District, the judge didn't let us use it. He said, it's hearsay. I said, it's not hearsay. Wouldn't let us use it. This is about the man. But he got in trouble for a very simple reason, because he was involved with borrowing a lot of money and he did something with the banks. I don't know if it's defrauded the banks, but something happened. You guys know what it is. And then in addition to that, he gave up on 3 things where he wasn't guilty. In fact, they were going to testify in that. The head of the FEC, the Brad Smith, the election expert, #1 rated in the country, who was going to testify. He took a plea on 3 things. He just added them in because that gave him more bargaining power with respect to me. But the 3 things that he pled on, having to do with the election and having to do essentially a little bit with me, they weren't crimes. They weren't crimes. Nor is paying money under an NDA. So we have an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. It's a big deal, a non-disclosure agreement. Totally honorable, totally good, totally accepted. Everybody has them. Every company has non-disclosure agreements. But the press called it slush fund and all sorts of other things. Hush money, hush money. It's not hush money. It's called a non-disclosure agreement. And most of the people in this room have a non-disclosure agreement with their company.
So
It's a disgrace.
what he's saying right
So
here, do y'all agree with that? Or do y'all think that he was, in fact, guilty of giving away hush money to hush people up and be quiet? I mean, because that's what this really all about, especially when it had to do with a porno star. You understand what I'm saying? A sex worker, right? So is the world, and particularly America, ready to go to civil war and World War III behind Trump not being able to control his penis or whatever he got going on? Is that what this really all about, y'all? Is that why he making press conferences and giving people allegedly hush money, and he's, you know, proven guilty of that? And is that what this is all really about, y'all?
it's not hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement, totally legal, totally common. Everyone has it. And what happened is he signed a non-disclosure agreement with this person, I guess other people, but it's totally honest. You're allowed to make the payment. You don't have to make it. You can make it any way you want. It's a non-disclosure agreement. And he signed that. And there was nothing wrong with signing it. And this should have been a non-case. And everybody said it was a non-case, including Bragg. Bragg said, until I ran for office. And then they saw the polls. I was leading the Republicans. I was leading the Democrats. I was leading everybody. And all of a sudden, they brought it back. It's a very sad thing that's happening in our country. And it's a thing that I'm honored. In a way, I'm honored. It's not that it's pleasant. It's very bad for family. It's very bad for friends and businesses. But I'm honored to be involved in it because somebody has to do it. And I might as well keep going and be the one. But I'm very honored to be involved because we're fighting for our Constitution. The money that was paid legally. There was nothing illegal. In fact, the lawyer in creating the NDA, because at that time he was a fully accredited lawyer. He wasn't a fixer. I never thought of him as a fixer. The media called him a fixer, or the prosecutors called him a fixer. He was a lawyer, and he was fairly good. Later on, I didn't like what he did. I didn't like, for instance, I didn't like that when I became president, he went around and made deals with companies. When I heard that, he was gone. He was gone. And he had payments coming to him. And a lot of this involved things that are very simple. There was nothing wrong. This was standard stuff, all standard stuff. Everything involved was standard. There was no crime here.
So what y'all think about Trump. You know what I mean? Did he in fact give out hush money? Is what he been convicted from? Is he still in denial? Are they being delusional? Or was he being targeted? What's really going on right now? And is this going to be like another January 6th situation? And is this going to divide the country even further than it's already divided? Y'all let me know. Put it in the comments. And don't forget to name my co-host. She's sitting here being patient. She's, reviewing everything, but I don't have enough people coming into my live stream to even keep going. So it's just getting sad for me. But it's all right. It's all right, y'all. We're gonna still be presenting what we presenting, putting it down like how we putting it down. You know what I'm saying? The cloud chasing is at an all-time high.